Today, we have a huge update on the Toronto Maple Leafs trade deadline plans, as well as more bad news for Leafs fans, and we'll break it all down for you coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, just want to say that 82.7% of you guys watching this aren't subscribed, so if you're looking for a place for daily NHL, daily Leafs content, look no further, go down below, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,000 subscribers, and we'd love to have you along the journey with us. But with that said, let's get right into the first topic video today, which is bad news for the Leafs. And as we take a look here from Elliot Freeman on Twitter, he says Toronto's head coach Sheldon Keefe says Calle Järnkrok is week to week with a broken knuckle suffered in practice yesterday. And as we see here, Järnkrok is a crucial contributor to the Leafs, bringing energy and speed to the third line along with Domi and Robertson. This injury will hurt the Leafs' depth scoring as Järnkrok has 10 goals and 9 assists so far this season. And Mark, this is just devastating news for Leafs fans around the world. Yesterday we found out Bobby McMahon was down. We did hear that Järnkrok did suffer an injury, but it came out today that he's out week to week, and this is just huge for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, the biggest issue with this, when you do look at Calle Järnkrok, yes, he's been contributing on this third line, but he's kind of a Swiss Army knife, or if you want to say a Swedish Army knife. This guy can be a plug-and-play guy. You can put him in the top line, in the middle six, the fourth line. He plays everywhere, but the biggest and the most crucial part with this is he really anchors down the Leafs' second penalty kill. So not having Calle Järnkrok in, yes, you do bring in a guy like Ryan Reeves. It's not my favorite option, but at this point, you got to give him a go. See, can he get back to what he was in Minnesota last year? There's a chance Reeve comes in and makes an immediate impact. A guy like Pontus Holmberg could slide up within the lineup. I know Noah Gregor is slotted to be there right now, but you do have guys that can play the third line, but those guys aren't going to look great on the penalty kill. Yes, Gregor is fast. He's been good, but you can't really play him at center. Nylander is on the second penalty kill, so maybe you slot him to the center role. But in a guy like Pontus Holmberg, I wouldn't trust too much in that kind of a crucial play. So maybe a guy like Austin Matthews does slot there, but it's kind of not a long-term thing. It's a week-to-week problem. So having Kelly not in the lineup, you do lose a bit of depth scoring, you lose a penalty killing guy. And I think this is going to be a little more crucial to the Leafs than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. Like you said, this guy is all over the ice, not just scoring, but his speed, it makes the difference in some of these occasions. He's faster than most other teams' third line players, and he's a guy who can go out there in any situation, and you can rely on him to go out there and do his job. And having him week to week, to put it blatantly, it sucks for the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is a guy who you can rely on night in and night out, and now with him out, we hope it's not more serious than what it comes out to be here. Hopefully he can recover very soon and get back in this lineup. But with a broken knuckle injury, that's hard. You got to hold your stick, and if you can't, close your hand to hold your stick with a broken knuckle. It's hard for him right now to try to, rehab and get back on the ice. But I really hope that he, can come out of this and keep playing the hockey he's playing this season.
Yeah, the big thing is when he did leave the ice yesterday, I believe they were doing a penalty kill exercise. He blocked a shot, which broke his knuckle. He was frustrated. He was annoyed. He threw his glove walking off the ice. He wasn't pleased about this. I know he was having a good season. This is a guy that's had 20-goal seasons before. He was having an outstanding season, as I said, on the penalty kill, on the bottom six. And just overall, seeing him go down is going to kind of just alter what he's doing. And hopefully, when he does get back, that this is not going to be a nagging injury and they don't have to rush him to get back into play.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to rush a guy back in this situation because if it happens where he takes another puck to that hand and re-aggravates the injury when it's not fully healed, it could be worse than what it is right now, and you never want to see that happen. And we really hope that he gets better here. But Mark, with this situation arising now with Bobby McMahon and Calle Järnkrok, do you expect maybe a call-up is in order, or do you think they may look to make a trade at the deadline?
The big thing is, I think they're going to really give Reeves his last shot. This is maybe the opportunity to say, hey, we'll give you 2 or 3 games. If you aren't playing to what we expect you to, maybe this is a guy that's placed on waivers or sent off in a trade. But I think the first guy that would be called up, and my first option before making a kind of panic trade to fill out the bottom six, is a guy like Alex Steves. We see him right now. He's leading the Marlies in scoring. He's not going to help on the penalty kill per se, but bringing this guy up for a bit of depth scoring, maybe you do slot him him onto the fourth line to kind of take over Noah Gregor's role, but more of an offensive thing. Or maybe a guy like Nick Eberswayze that could come in and play center as well. But there might be a chance that if they can get someone for cheap, maybe a guy like Adam Henrique's kind of floating around. I know there's a lot of rumors on him. Maybe if you can go out and get this guy half retained for a cheap price, maybe this is the piece that they are really missing.
Yeah, definitely. There is another guy down there that's kind of on my radar, and that's Joe Blandisi. He has 30 points so far this season with the Marlies. He's a center. He's a guy who could come up for this team as well. But it will be interesting to see what Treliving and the Leafs do here surrounding this situation, and really hope the injury isn't worse than what it's leading on right now, and that Järkrok can get back to playing hockey as well as Bobby McMahon. But let us know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts on Järkrok going out? What do you think that they're going to do to maybe fix this lineup with him out? Let us know down below. But we're going to get into our second topic of video today, which is Leafs trade plans for the deadline. And as we take a look here, the Toronto Maple Leafs continue to explore the trade market, but the sense I've gotten the last 2 weeks is that GM Brad Treliving isn't eager to make a move. Maybe, but I believe the more accurate description is he is not eager to pay a premium to fill potholes and can't repave the entire road. The Leafs remain interested in guys like Chris Tanev, but until they up their offers, they'll remain on the sidelines. I believe they'll move their first round pick, but they have to love to return for it. And teams have asked about Fraser Minten, but he isn't on the table for a rental. The sense of urgency might pick up closer to trade deadline, but that's where the team is at right now. And Mark, I mean, this is a lot of information to absorb here. We did report just a couple weeks ago that they may be looking to make a trade, and now we're hearing maybe they're sitting back and maybe fine with the roster that they have right now. But just what are your initial thoughts on this?
The first thing is, I know he said he doesn't want to move guys like Cowan and a guy like Minton, and I completely agree with this. We've seen both of these dominate at the levels that they're playing in, as the WHL, the Q. These guys have looked, or the OHL, sorry, they've looked outstanding, and I think you really hold on to these guys, let them develop. Just a couple of weeks, or months ago, sorry, Fraser Minton was in this Leafs lineup. He got the start of the season. He dominated during preseason. He looked good during all the tournaments they played in. So moving on from these guys for a rental is definitely not the greatest idea. I know Chris Tanev is a name the Leafs have been linked to. They were linked to both him and Sidorov. There's also reports that came out that they offered for both these guys when they were both on Calgary. But I think the problem with Tanev is there's so many teams in. I know the Devils have their foot in the mix. The Oilers might be throwing their foot in. And I know the Canucks are looking like the favorites to land a guy like this. So I can't see the Leafs going into a bidding war. Exactly like this article said, they don't want to just kind of fix one pothole when there's multiple potholes on the road. If anyone's from Newfoundland, you know the struggle, so you'll definitely understand that. The big thing with this is, though, if you go out and get a guy like Tanev, yes, it does help with your right D, but this team has kind of been lackluster in a lot of senses. They're kind of underperforming. This is a team at the current moment that we're recording. They're 24, 14, and 8. They're fourth in the Atlantic. This is a team that had expectations to maybe go for the President's Trophy, to win the East, but the big thing with this is they haven't lived up to that yet, so I don't think Brad Treliving wants to go out, pay everything he can, get rid of prospects, get rid of picks, fill a bunch of pieces, and the team to kind of falter in the playoffs. I could see maybe a trade where you go out and get a guy like Jake McCabe that we did get. He had term. We got him salary retained. He's on $2 million contract for multiple years. That looks like an absolute steal of a trade. So maybe Brad goes out and looks for maybe a guy like this with term that they can use for now, the future, whatever it may be. But I completely agree with, don't move out on the prospects that you know that are already good and you already have, and move out some picks, because picks are kind of a coin flip. You could draft a complete bust. Neil Yakubov was a guy that went first overall and never lived up to his expectations, but you know what you have with guys with Fraser Minton and Easton Cowan.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of stand where you are right now. I think that Brad is more so thinking of the next season and not the current season. I think he really likes the team that he has put together this year. And I know a lot of people have been critical of Brad Treliving, but I'll be the first person to go to bat for this guy. I've really liked the moves that he's put in place for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season, and I really do think he's going to do best for this hockey club come trade deadline. And if he thinks the team he has right now can go out and win a Stanley Cup this year, I really don't think he is as active as they say in this article. Maybe he sits back on the sidelines, maybe waits for a couple couple calls to come in and see if he can work something out there. Or maybe, if he thinks we need to tweak this, we need to tweak that, maybe he goes out, shops this first round pick around and see what they can get back for it, because realistically, the Leafs are going to be a playoff team. They're hoping to make a deep run this year, so that pick isn't really going to be worth much to them for this coming offseason. Maybe they ship that out. They get, a role player, or maybe a role defenseman to come in here to shape them up for their playoff run and for the second half of this season. And like I said, I'm a big Brad Treliving guy. Too many people are being critical of this guy. I really love what he's done with the Leafs this year.
Listen, I'll be the first to say Brad made some great signings and he made terrible signings, but every GM does this. The big thing with this is he didn't give them multiple years. We've seen Reeves, yes, this is a long-term contract, but you can kind of move off this 3-year deal. A guy like Klingberg, who went down with injuries, you can't put the full blame on Brad on this, so this is a 1-year deal as well. I know a lot of people are giving hate to Tyler Bertuzzi, but if you look at his advanced stats, he looked outstanding for goals for expected, and just overall, it's been unlucky play. And a guy like Max Domi that has looked good so far. The biggest thing to kind of look at this team, this is still Kyle Dubas's team. And by that, I don't mean he has any association with the Leafs. But most of the team and how it's constructed are players that Dubas acquired, people he signed, and so on. So I think Brad is really looking at the bigger picture of, hey, we are going to clear up close to $20 million next offseason. People say they're in a cap crunch. They're not in a cap crunch. But this gives Brad the chance to maybe move on from guys like TJ Brody or whatever it might be, to really put his impact on this team, sign the players that he wants, and just kind of build a roster that he wants. I know we look at Calgary, they did make some bad moves, they made some good moves, but he did build that team as a Western Conference style, and I think he's going to try to build the Leafs in the same kind of sense that a team like the Boston Bruins have been built with and looked dominant since they've been in the league.
Yeah, and he's come in here and he's signed Austin Matthews, extended Austin Matthews, he's extended William Nylander. He's going to extend Marner next year. So these are big signings that he has made already for this Toronto club. And like they say in this article, they're looking to fill potholes. But I think what Brad's planning to do is rip up the entire road come the offseason and put a blank slate of pavement over it. I think he's going to really put his impact in on this team for next season, because he really came in, like you said, to a situation where Dubas had his team built already, and next year is where we're really going to see Brad Treliving lay his mark on this Toronto Maple Leafs club, and I'm really excited for that to happen. But that's a while away, and let us know what you think about all this stuff we discussed about the trade deadline plans, and maybe what Brad Treliving will do this coming offseason down below in the comment section. But we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, and that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to RB. He says, if the Leafs are going to play Florida in the playoffs, they're going to need Reeves. And shout out to you, RB, obviously, for being comment of the day, for showing your support here on the channel. And I think I have to agree with you here. I think this is the reason why Treliving has brought Ryan Reeves in. He is a guy who's going to be a pest. He's going to get under the opponent's skin come playoffs time. So I think having this guy in the lineup to shake it up, to, be an enforcer out there for this Toronto Maple Leafs team come playoff time is really going to help them out. But let us know what you think about that down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate it if you went down, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the NHL, make sure to check out this video we did yesterday on the Leafs. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.